Hello, this is Courtney with RealFoodTraveler.com, a digital culinary travel magazine. We're here today at Devil's Thumb Ranch, which is in Granby in Colorado, and it's absolutely gorgeous here. We've got amazing scenery, white snow-capped mountains and beautiful green pastures and some snow on the ground. People have been Nordic skiing. There's also horseback riding, sleigh rides. It's just a gorgeous place that we've had the good fortune to stay at a few times. And today I am looking at the culinary angle of things here at Devil's Thumb Ranch, and getting to know their new executive chef and the food program they have going on here. So let's get started.
My name is Josh Bettis. I'm the executive chef. I oversee the ranch here and also the two properties down in Winter Park. I've been here for about a year and 3 months, and it's been a blur. It's been a whirlwind of many things to do, and looking at the big picture and where we're going and all of the exciting things we have coming up culinary-wise, and from A to Z. It doesn't seem like a year and 3 months. You blink and it's gone.
Yeah. I bet. Tell us a little bit more about your responsibilities, especially given that you're overseeing more than just one restaurant.
Sure. I oversee all the food and beverage here at the ranch. Anywhere where there's food, I'm in it elbow deep. From amenities to our grab and go here at Hollow Grounds, to our 3 meal a day at Heck's Tavern, to our specialty restaurant, which we're sitting in right now, the Ranch House Restaurant, and down to winter, and also all the caterings and banquets. We did 120 weddings last year. We're en route to do many more. We're about the same amount this year. So we do a lot of corporate retreats up here at the ranch. We do pack lunch for fly fishing demos and cowpoke camp, and we do all sorts of great culinary things here, and we do specialty dinners like Dinner on the Divide. We've got chefs come up, and we're getting ready to do a wine dinner here in 2 weeks. So we always have something going on here at the ranch that includes culinary. It keeps us very busy. We also have 2 other properties down in Winter Park, Vasquez Creek Inn and Trailhead Inn. We do continental breakfast down in Trailhead Inn, which we do all the pastries for that. We also have Valario's, which is a northern Italian-inspired restaurant, which was it's all handmade, it's all homemade, great pizzas, all homemade pastas, and attached to that also is Cafe Giocondo's, which is open early in the morning, and they do until 3 o'clock, and that's great specialty drinks with baristas. We have a brand new pastry program with a great pastry chef that just came on to join us. Rave reviews on that. We do nice quiches, strombolis, frittatas, and things of that nature. And then in the summer, we'll be doing some full breakfasts in the morning as well. So a lot going on, a lot of different outlets, a lot of different venues. Like I said, it's been a blur, but it's great. We also have some other things in the pipeline in the future, which I'm not going to divulge just yet. Okay,
all right, that's fair enough. To be able to handle all that, you must have a heck of a background. Tell me about that.
Well, I've been doing this for 20-some years. I've been all over the United States. My last stop before here was I was the executive chef of the historic Brown Hotel in Louisville, Kentucky. Before that, I was at the Monte Lucia Resort and Spa in Scottsdale, Arizona. Before that, I was recruited to go and do the reopening of the Fontainebleau in Miami. Before that, I was at the Lowe's in Tucson for years, where me and a good friend of mine, Philippe Troche, he's a chef, he's back in France now. We shut down the Ventana room, which was 4 diamonds, and we put the 5th diamond in the window. And that was the dying wish of the owner that had the resort, the land it sat on. And took a year and 3 months, and we remodeled everything and put 5 diamonds in the window. So that was a great achievement. But before that, I was in Ireland. I've been from coast to coast in the heartland, like I said, just coming from Kentucky, and now I'm in the Rocky Mountains, and it's been a joy. I'm blessed.
What made you want to come here?
It's a different style of cuisine, and I think Colorado really is capturing the attention of the United States. Not that it ever was out of the picture, but I really think it's growing. People are really understanding, what Colorado has to offer, from just the Wagyu program and ranch that we have here to what comes out of the earth in Colorado. The produce and the product is pretty much year round now, and it's cultivated very, very well, and I just think it's a great food scene. It was a different atmosphere for me. The places I just told you I've been, obviously it's all cities. My lovely wife she's an Oregon farm girl. She grew up on a farm, and she's been following me around for years, going to city. And I said, we can get out of the city, and she absolutely loves it here, and so do I. And like I said, we're blessed to be here. It's a beautiful ranch, and in Colorado, in the beautiful Rocky Mountains.
Mm-hmm. Well, that feeds, pun intended, perfectly into my next question. Then that being here, being in a ranch atmosphere, although it's not rough and tumble, really, it's pretty luxurious,
sure.
But it certainly has that rough edge to it, which is part of the appeal.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean in terms of philosophy of what you prepare here, given that you've got that kind of dichotomy going on?
Sure, when you're cooking and chefing in the Southwest, obviously uniquely local, big Southwest Mexican fusion and things of that nature, and being in Miami is a lot of Latin American flavors and feels to it. Being in Ireland, obviously, was very European, and coming to the Rocky Mountains, you have to stay true to what the earth gives you here in your region. You want to be uniquely local, and you're not going to come to a ranch and expect to get some lo mein.
Mm-hmm.
We are a working ranch. We've just under 150 head of cattle. So you want to keep that in mind. It's a beautiful Wagyu beef program, full bloodlines. So we want to utilize that in a ranch setting. We do also we cater to people that come here for multiple nights and multiple day stays with all the activities we have going on. Being that Condé Nast rated us the number 3 Nordic ski destination resort last year for Nordic skiing.
Congratulations!
Thank you. So we get a lot of people that want to be the rugged and feel like they're in a ranch, but then they come here and it's obviously very, very luxurious. And we get a lot of people that are very, very health conscious as well. Mm-hmm. We people that come here because they want the physical activities. We've got great yogas. We have a beautiful spa. We do horseback riding, zip lining, Nordic skiing, obviously. Anything from A to Z, from the weddings to the corporate people. But there's always that dynamic of what people are looking for, especially nowadays with the dietary needs and people being very, very conscious of what they're eating. So it's kind of a touchy balance at times, is to be able to do a nice hearty ranchy thing with a nice big ribeye with mashed potatoes, to people that want a lighter fare where you do a nice garden and grain bowl and things of that nature. So you really have to get to the whole spectrum of what people are wanting, because people are so diverse in what they want nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Is the menu different in each of the restaurants?
Yes, it is. The Ranch House restaurant is we do a happy hour in the tavern, so there's nice snack bites, small bites of that nature, and then you go over to the restaurant, and it's our specialty restaurant, so it's a little more, attention to detail is king and everywhere, obviously. But this is a little more refined cuisine, but with that being said, you still want to be able to incorporate all of the Colorado things and the things that, like I said, that are here in an abundance in Colorado and into the region. And so you still get those products in, and paying homage to the ground that it comes out of in the Rocky Mountain region in Colorado, as well as what comes in the farm, but it's also in the streams with all the trouts and the beautiful fish that the land provides for us. So we incorporate that in all the menus. However, there are different styles of menu. It's Hex is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Very, very busy restaurant, a lot of foot traffic, and it's kind of the heart of the resort. It's where everybody seems to go and meet up and congregate with the tavern and get drinks, and you can get some small share plates from hummus and crudité to meat and cheese boards to a big cowboy cut steak to our signature meatballs from Wagyu beef here that we raise here in the ranch. So it's a little more homey Americana feeling in Hex in the restaurant, and we're working on new menus for everything. It's as the seasons change, so we're going to be building on to the new menus in all the outlets and the catering as well. But they do have their own nuances to be able to meet with everybody's everybody's needs when they come here and stay. Like I said, people do come here for multiple days at a time, and to give them those options, and it's very important.
Yeah. I can't even imagine. I mean, I have a hard enough time cooking for 4 children who have individual tastes, much less what you're trying to do. So how, was there a big, not a learning curve, but was it a huge adjustment for you coming here compared to the experiences you'd had before professionally?
Yeah, somewhat. But anywhere you go, like I said, if you grow up in the Southwest United States and then you go to the East Coast, there's a learning curve. And just being in any different kitchen is a learning curve. Every kitchen that I oversee here, between here and Winter Park, have their own feel. They have their own culture. Obviously, we're all on one culture when it comes to what we try to accomplish, and that's quality. We are in a quality-driven industry. We are a quality-driven restaurants, quality-driven resort and company, and so that is our mainstay, and then is our biggest focus is quality and guest experience. So that's a culture in all of our kitchens. However, the feel of the kitchen and the crew in Valario's, with the idea of we want to take rustic home cooking with a northern Italian flavor, is going to be a different culture and feeling with 3 meal a day Americana restaurant. And it's great because so, well, to answer your question, is it a learning curve? Every resort you go to is a learning curve. Whether you're, I think even if I grew up in the Midwest, and I never left the Midwest, but you worked at 4 different resorts and 4 different kitchens, it's a learning curve everywhere you go. Certainly.
Yeah. When I travel, when people find out I'm from Colorado, they always ask me, what's the quintessential Colorado food? And I'm never sure what to answer them. Now that you've been here a little while, what would you say? You know what?
Food is so diverse nowadays, and people say, it's so difficult to get product. I've been doing this for over 20-some years, and the world is getting much, much smaller when it comes to the product you can get year-round, and people's flavors have all kind of meshed together. But, there is the uniqueness, like we talked about, in regions. But, if you want to think about what people are going to be looking for when they come to Colorado or the Southwest or the Midwest and things are in the South, things of that nature, people know it's uniquely local. People want to get the flavors of that region. So, for us, being that people come here and are in the state of Colorado, I think you really feature what we're known for. Obviously, Colorado as a state's known for bison. They're known for great produce. Obviously we're known for our trout and lamb, and so there's so many different things that you can focus on as a region of the state in Colorado. But here at the ranch, our focus is we are a working ranch, and we do have just under 150 head of cattle, like I said, and we do an all Wagyu program. We really like to emphasize and put a little bit of focus on our beef program here, and people are very, very interested in that. And we do different cuts of meat here at the ranch house with Wagyu, or our meatballs down in Hex or Wagyu, and we have meatloaf that's Wagyu, and like I said, we have new menus coming out, and we do specials with our beef, and it's all grown here. And I think people really enjoy the fact when they're coming to the ranch, they have to drive down this road as you saw coming in, and you have the pasture and the fields to your left that overlook that are snugged up against the Continental Divide, and 6,000 acres, and you see our cattle roaming free, and it's just wow. It's breathtaking is what it is.
It is.
And so we really put a focus and emphasis on our Wagyu, but not just to that. And we celebrate all of the regions in Colorado's food.
For our listeners who aren't familiar with what Wagyu beef is,
Sure.
what that means, can you explain that for us?
Yep. The best way to describe it is everybody's familiar with Kobe beef. They understand the full bloodline of Kobe beef and what it's known for, and the quality and the marbling and the textures and how wonderful it is. Well, it's called Kobe beef because it's the cow that's raised in Kobe, Japan. Here in the United States, we call it Wagyu. And now this is a breed of cow. They're black. black cow, and they're a little more bovine, a little bit bigger. Some people say their bone structure is a cross between a domestic cattle and an ox, and but the marbling and the flavors and the textures they're impeccable. They're second to none.
Well, okay. What about being able to do things scratch made? And I know you source locally, obviously, but with the magnitude of dishes you put out, are you still able to do scratch made things?
Yes. Like I said, this is a quality driven industry. Mm-hmm. Our ownership is very, very quality driven and service oriented, which is great. They're involved, and we're all striving for the same ends to the means, and that's guest quality and satisfaction, and you're not going to be able to get that if you're buying things out of a box. Right. We get the essential ingredients and we make everything from scratch.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And it makes the volume. It's all the more impressive to me given the volume that you do. That's really
well, it's everything's broken up into different departments. It's not one restaurant trying to do all the banquets and trying to run everything. And I've got a lot of great crew, and you conquer and divide, and you focus on what your task at hand is, and be true to yourself, be true to the food, be true to the guests, and give them the best quality product you can. Mm-hmm. And we've got a great banquet team that takes care of all the caterings and banquets, and I've got a wonderful team down in Winter Park that takes care of the Northern Italian cuisine and Valarios and so forth. And so everything's broken up into departments and teams, and they're enthusiastic and they love what they do, and they're quality driven, and you can't ask for much more than that.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
So I know it's hard because you've got so many different menus going, but give our listeners some examples of a couple of your favorite dishes.
You go down to Hex, and kind of our signature is our Wagyu meatballs, and you sit in the Hex Tavern, and it's very, very comforting and homey, but very ranchy feeling. So we really focus on our meatballs. They make great hamburgers. We patty our burgers, and all from our cows that we raise here at the ranch. And so our standout is really our hamburgers and things that we really, really try to push forward to as a comfort food for the ranch and things of that nature. But it's people say when you come here you got to at least stop by Hex to have a burger, and to me, as an executive chef that oversees so many facets of it, my expectations of a hamburger are just as high as if I was working with caviar or any other truffles. To me, that burger better be just as well prepared as anything else, whatever the price tag is on it. It's very important. And Hex is, like I said, it's a great place for cocktails and drinking. It's kind of the heart of the ranch where people all congregate to meet, and it's got a great energy and a great vibe to it. Mm-hmm. Up here at the Ranch House restaurant, it's a little bit quieter, more intimate. It's our specialty restaurant. We really focus on the Wagyu prime cuts, and we sell them by the ounce, and it's all more refined cuisine. We have a great wine selection here, but we really try to focus on our Wagyu beef program. However, we've fresh handmade pastas here as well. We do our Colorado trout, elk. We keep it a refined, rustic ranch type cuisine, if you will.
Are there any particular recipes you brought with you that that if somebody had it, like that's a Chef Josh dish? It's like all over
it's all about different components and how you train your chefs and what they're looking for. I mean, you bring in a lot of different techniques and some ingredients, and my philosophy, and growing up in this industry and getting kicked around a little bit, you don't want to work for somebody that's going to come in and say, here's my menu, these are my dishes, here's the ingredients, now get to it. Mm-hmm. This is a very creative field, and people are here because they want a creative outlook, and they want to create an outlet. So I don't. If there's anything that needs to be tweaked and things of that nature, sure, I do that quite a bit. But I don't really dictate what the chef puts on his menu and strong arm them into doing one particular thing or one particular style. Everybody has their own style. Everybody's individualistic, and everybody's creative. And if you take that away from somebody, then the industry, it's just not what it's there for. It's not for why the people are into the kitchen. People aren't there just to feed the masses and get people in and out. Sure, there's some places, unfortunately, that maybe that's their philosophy, but my philosophy is that it's also my team are my guests as well, and I'm never going to tie somebody's hands behind their back and dictate exactly what everything they have to put on a plate. Yeah, it's not fair, and I wouldn't do that to the young kids in the industry. They don't deserve that.
When you applied for the job here, did you have to audition with a certain dish? So do you remember what it was?
I came out here and I was in correspondence with our food and beverage director, Patrick Lowe, and he was recruiting me to come out here from Kentucky, sorry. And he said, we want you to come out and do some interviews, stay a couple nights, and then we want you to do a tasting. I was like, wow, I haven't had to do a tasting for a job for a while, but yeah, it'd be fun. Why not? Great. So what would you like us to get you? Or I said, nothing. I'll just find something, and I'll find what kind of food you have there, and I'll make something up. And he was like, well, chef, the restaurant you're going to be in is closed. And I said, well, you have other restaurants, and I'm sure I can find something. And so I just came out and just kind of looked around, and I looked around and found some ingredients and found some beautiful lamb, and kind of scratched down a menu while I was watching the Cubs playing the World Series, and I was having a burger. I had to have a burger, right?
Yeah.
And so I just quickly wrote down a menu as to what I was going to do the next day for a tasting. And I woke up, and there was a dusting of snow on the ground. And I was like, wow, I haven't seen snow in a while. So that changed my menu. I said, you know what, now I want to do something. And I saw some beautiful mushrooms in a different restaurant, so I made a nice mushroom cappuccino and did a beautiful lamb dish and just worked with what they had. And it kind of helped me out to give me an idea of what exactly to look at when I get here. Just by looking through the refrigerators instead of them giving me one box of stuff that I had asked for.
Right.
Come in and see what they already have on their shelves, see what they already have in their walk-ins, and that will kind of give you an idea of the region. So that was just kind of the way we went.
Huh.
Yeah.
I think those stories are amazing. I'm already just impressed that you can think on the fly, but you wouldn't be where you are in life if you weren't able to think on the fly.
I think that's in any industry nowadays. Yeah. I think, thinking on the fly, I think is pretty much the norm, especially in culinary and kitchens, because so many different facets and so many different changes and so many different hiccups and so many different requests, especially nowadays with dietary restrictions and from just some very unusual requests at times. You got to be able to make it happen.
Yeah.
It's all about the guests.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. So when people come to Devil's Thumb Ranch, which they should, absolutely, gotta have the burger.
You gotta have the burger.
And the meatballs.
You gotta have some meatballs if you go to X Tavern. If you come up to the ranch house, you've definitely gotta try some more. The Wagyu beef, the prime cuts. The product we get off this ranch with our rancher, our head rancher Garth, and the way that he treats his animals is you would think they're his kids. And the product that we were able to put on the plate, like I said, we're blessed and very, very fortunate to have that, because the product is absolutely second to none. Yeah. It's the best beef I've ever seen in the United States, definitely.
So what about vegetarian and vegan guests? What are some of the offerings?
We do a lot of pastas. We're very, very health conscious, and we're very in tune with what people need. We do a lot of gluten free, a lot of dairy frees, and just dietary needs all across the board. And we're equipped in every single restaurant to do so. And whether you have 4 people in your restaurant that night, or you're booked to the gills, or you have a wedding for 300 people, you always have those requests. And like I said, and you said, it's amazing how people can think on the fly and make things happen. that's the norm. That really has become the norm. So we're prepared for anybody, and like I said, it's all about the guests and giving them what they want.
Yeah.
So,
well, is there anything else you want our listeners to know about why they have to come to Devil's Thumb and what they've got to eat in all of your restaurants?
Yeah, come to Winter Park. There's always something going on. Valario's, like I said, it's Northern Italian inspired cuisine. Same with Cafe Giacono's. Have the pastries, the fresh breads, beautiful salads and sandwiches, and our baristas are top notch and make wonderful coffee drinks, specialty drinks. We have a great wine list in all of our outlets. You go to Valario's, you have beautiful hand tossed pizzas and pastas. If you go to Valario's, you got to try our fresh homemade gnocchis with the braised lamb shank. It's to die for. Hollow Grounds, like I said, you got to get a burger. And just have fun and come up and see all the different activities we have and our friendly staff. And it's a great place to relax and be pampered. Our spa is unbelievable. The staff we have, and it's all about the staff and how you treat people, but it's all about the people that come here, and you want to treat them well. And that's a lot of places. It seems like the staff is going through the motions because that's what they're been instilled in them, and they've been steeped in that. But it's a little robotic here. It's very organic. It's because people truly want to give the best hospitality experience they can, because they come to this ranch every day and they walk around these grounds and they see what product we have to offer. And it makes you very proud, and you want people to really enjoy themselves and enjoy the grounds, the activities, obviously enjoy all the cuisines and the spa. And it's genuine. Our staff is very, very genuine and organic when it comes to that, because it's so easy to do when you look around and really realize that, quite lucky and fortunate to be working where we are.
Yeah. And I should mention that the two Winter Park properties you talked about, Trailhead Inn and Vasquez Inn, are only like a 15-minute drive away. So you could be a guest here and go there, and vice versa. Really, really easily.
Yeah.
And I haven't really talked about how amazing and gorgeous it is outside. We're going to be doing a post with lots of pictures that will really show it off. But I'm sure one of the first things they had you learn was why it's called Devil's Thumb.
Well, we're right up against the Continental Divide, and there's a rich history of Indian population and tribes here, and and in the fields there were some pretty gnarly battles back then for territory and survival. And there's, as a tribute and recognition of lives lost and the hardships that they had befallen them on, there's up in the Continental Divide, there's one large rock, and you can see it jetting out, and that is called the Devil's Thumb. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of just to never forget the true harbingers of the land and the people that were here.
Yeah, that's great.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I think all of our Real Food Traveler listeners and readers should come up here, and when they do, they should ask to say hello to you and let them know that you listen to this podcast.
Absolutely. One of the biggest things about my job is I've been very, very fortunate to travel around quite a bit, and very fortunate to make friends everywhere I go, and just to meet new people and hear different stories and share some of my stories with them, and them share stories with me. And certainly, if you come to Colorado, you definitely need to come up and see Devil's Thumb Ranch. It's very unique. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's heavenly, and please, let me know you're here and you listen to the podcast. And I would love to come by and share the stories with you.
That's great.
Yeah, it's wonderful to be able to meet people.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
I appreciate it. I had fun. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.